If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lizzie. I am a self-taught UX designer and I am about 8 months into my journey. The point of my videos is to document my experience as candidly as possible to serve as a resource for anyone interested. And if you're following my journey from the very beginning or somewhere in between, welcome back. Listen, we made it to month 8 and by the end of this month, I should have a completed portfolio and should be ready to start applying to full-time roles. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into the details about that. I do have an exciting announcement that I have been meaning to make for a couple of weeks now, but you know, my schedule now is a little bit more on kilter, so I am really happy to be sharing with you this news. So to provide a breakdown of this video, I'm first going to talk about where I'm currently at now that I am wrapping up month 8 of my self-taught UX design journey. Then I'm going to share a little bit about my personal life big update and then dive deeper into the really big announcement that is more UX related and benefits you all. So without further ado, let's get into it. So to backtrack 1 month ago, back in July, I wanted to focus that entire month solely on UI because I, at that point, didn't get my hands too dirty with it. I really just honed in on practicing UI by copying designs through referencing websites like Dribbble and Behance and then trying to literally copy it on Figma. I really focused on typography because I've been told by my mentors that single-handedly is the most important thing to learn about UI, especially as a junior designer. So that's what I did. Also, from mid-July to mid-August, I participated in this program called Product Splash, which was hosted by 2 organizations. One is Product Buds and the other is Design Buddies. I don't think I mentioned that on my YouTube because I was just so busy. That was a great experience because I got to collaborate with other emerging designers and PMs. So I'm also going to be including that experience within my portfolio. Overall, it was a really great experience and I had a lot of fun doing it with my teammates. And I think that we came up with a great idea. If you hear munching noises in the background, it's my cat Smo. He's eating right now, so just disregard that. So then after I completed the Product Splash program with my team, I then went into full-on portfolio building mode. Now, if you followed my journey, you know that I was pretty diligent with documenting my process for my first pro bono project with the center's office. I did end up with nearly 10 pages of documentation. And so the biggest challenge that I ran into was, okay, how do I consolidate 10 pages into what is seemingly 2 pages of information along with like visual communication. So I had a really tough time with that. It took me maybe a week's worth before I actually had any substantial draft done. With that said, I do think in my experience, after getting over the very steep learning hump, it's got a lot easier. If there's one advice that I would give to anyone that is currently building out their portfolio is to just start with a simple template. I think if you start looking at templates that are more advanced, done by professionals with lots of experience, you might be psyching yourself out. I think at the end of the day, it's all a mental obstacle. You really have to believe in yourself as a designer and embrace that you are a junior designer. It's okay to not have advanced interaction or animations on your portfolio just yet. I would say just focus on the storytelling and showcase your design thinking and the actual process, and the rest will follow. All right, so now that we are all caught up to speed in where I'm at in my journey right now, we are 1 week away from the top of September, which according to my timeline that I set up for myself is when I will start applying to jobs. So I'm kind of in a time crunch right now because I don't have a completed draft, as in I don't have a completed final draft of my portfolio right now. I do have a working draft which I'm running through with mentors to get feedback on, and then I'm going to develop it on a hosting website. I'm considering Webflow maybe, or maybe Squarespace. I don't know yet. If you have suggestions, let me know in the comments below. Strangely, I'm not super stressed, and I think it's because I have all of the content that I need for my portfolio. It's just a matter of putting it into portfolio format and then launching that online. Also, I do want to say that I do have a working third portfolio piece that is more so a passion project, and I will also be putting that in my portfolio too. I think I just have to ride the big kahuna wave and then it'll be smoother sailing. Is that even a valid metaphor? I feel like I just made it up, and I feel like I made that up in reference to Moana because I babysit on the weekends and I just play Disney songs like all day long, including Moana, which I love. And then comes Little Mermaid, and then Lion King. Okay, so now I'm going to share my big personal update, which, as I mentioned earlier in this video, it actually set my UX timeline a little bit off kilter in the month of July and beginning of August. The big news is my grandparents from Vietnam emigrated mid-July, and I am a primary caretaker during the time that I am in the area. That in itself has been a big deal. I do want to caveat and say that I feel very fortunate that I get to have this opportunity to live with my grandparents, because I didn't have that childhood of growing up with grandparents. I was fortunate to visit them in Vietnam every 5 years when I was younger, and that helped me build a relationship with them. But truth be told, I secretly wish that I had grandparents or more family around growing up, because it was just me and my immediate family, since we were the first in our family to immigrate to America. So now I feel very fortunate that I get to live my childhood dream, but it's obviously different as an adult, and different because my grandparents are now older. They are both in their 80s, and my grandma actually has dementia. And having a family member with dementia is extremely hard emotionally. Wow, it's actually really hard to talk about. I guess I won't talk too much about it because I think my pause is making me realize that it's a little bit uncomfortable for me to share this online. I'll just leave it at this. You know, transitioning my grandparents from living in Vietnam to America was already a difficult circumstance. As you can imagine, the general way of life is different. So helping my grandparents navigate that transition was already a big deal and a big time commitment, which I happily did. But I think I didn't expect the emotional toll from experiencing how dementia influences my current relationship with my grandma. It's just really tough on days when she doesn't remember who I am, and I'll just leave it at that. And I also want to say that if any of you are also navigating the experience of having a loved one with dementia, my heart goes out to you, and if you ever want to have a conversation about it, feel free to reach out to me. I think we can find solace within each other. On happier news, I also had a week spent with family that traveled from San Jose to help with the transition of my grandparents as well. I still had my product / obligations, but for the most part, I put a pause on my UX studies and portfolio building at the time, just so I could emotionally and physically recharge with my family. That time spent, I do not regret at all. Although I am an adult and I have to take responsibility for the time that I lost that would have been devoted to UX learning. The way in which I am recuperating is that this past week, and also I think the week prior to, I've just been really focused and determined to get a quality portfolio completed, launched and live by the end of this month with sufficient feedback from my portfolio mentors. I think right now I am on track to do that. So yeah, I just gotta keep my foot on the gas pedal until the end of this month, and then I could finally take a break before jumping into the job search. So yeah, that's where I am at. Okay, so now moving on to my big professional / UX related news, which will also benefit you all, is I have been selected to be a part of the ADPList Venture Initiative Ambassador team. And if you have been following my videos, you know that I already am so grateful for ADPList.org because I mention it in a lot of my videos. So to be clear, ADPList.org is a free online global platform that has over 1,000 mentors from across the globe who volunteer their time to provide guidance and advice to people like you and me. I have built over 50 relationships with different mentors from this platform, and I speak with maybe 10 on the regular. If it wasn't for ADPList.org, I would not have been confident enough to resign from my job and teach myself UX. The simple reason is because mentorship to me is invaluable. For instance, we've been talking about my portfolio, so let me use that as an example. When I resigned from my job and pivoted into UX design, I knew that part of my journey would be building out a portfolio. That's when I took the proactive step to seek out mentors that I felt would be really good at giving me feedback. My portfolio doesn't just begin at Figma. It doesn't just begin at Webflow or Squarespace. It really begins at the very beginning when you start a project, because you have to document that project. That's step one. Now, I didn't know that until a mentor told me. Had it not been for my mentors to really drill into my head that document your process was key to building out a portfolio, I would have been in big trouble, because I can't imagine having to work off of my memory, because my memory is already trash. But luckily I did document it all, hence my 12-pager documentation for my first pro bono project. And yeah, it's all thanks to my mentors that at the very beginning told me what I needed to know. And now my process is a lot easier. Not only that, those same mentors are now on the journey with me to help build out my portfolio. I am confident in saying that I will produce in a few weeks a solid quality portfolio as a junior designer, because I have had the help of people that are more experienced in the design space. Simply put, I really want to encourage everybody in the design space to grab themselves a mentor, or if someone that is experienced in the design industry is watching this video, then maybe you should consider being a mentor on the website, because a mentorship goes both ways. It not only benefits the mentee, but also is a learning experience and gratifying for the mentor. So yeah, on both ends, I think you should really check ADPList out. Now, not only am I encouraging y'all to bring mentorship into your life, into your UX design journey, but now that I am in the master program, I am also going to be partnering with ADPList.org to push out videos that is related to mentorship. Okay, I'm starting to slip up on my words, and my mind is starting to wander, so I think that means that I'm tired. So on that note, I'm going to leave, but actually before then, another thing to plug, which is my Discord community. If you're not yet already on the UX Design Struggle Bus, you should consider joining. It's a social and resource community on Discord that now serves over 1,000 members, and it's a place where you can chat among each other, to support each other, to share resources. I'll leave the link to join in the description box below as well. Yeah, see, I'm getting kind of loopy. Okay, if you've made it this far in the video, isn't it so crazy how it's almost month 9 since I documented my journey on YouTube? It's still so weird to be sharing this online because in real life I'm really a private person. So yeah, I really appreciate you, and especially if you engage with me in the comments and offline. It's I don't know, it's like really cool. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all in my next videos. Later.